There we are. It's finally time to talk about that Garmin Tactix 8 and the Enduro 3. I did skip the Fenix 8, but well, let's talk about the Fenix 8 because that's pretty much exactly what they are. Fenix 8. The Fenix series is the highest series of watch at Garmin, and they built some watches that goes around. So basically, the Enduro 3 is a Fenix 8 in a different case with a bigger battery. That's what it is. The Tactix 8 is a Fenix 8 in a different case with slight software modification. That's what it is. It's the very same watch with some software modification. There's also the Mark that I don't think they update yet, which is the most expensive watch series. That is a Fenix in a most expensive case. And I think it's a bit of a shame that they do not release those watches at the very same time. For example, the watch I was waiting for was the Tactix 8. Because the Tactix is my favorite model. Why? Because I think it just looks better. We'll come back to that later, but I just like the fact that this one is dark, and I think it just fit better on my wrist, and I can use those wristbands that I like with it. That doesn't fit so well with my Enduro 2, which is gray and have those green lines that I don't really like. So I was waiting for the Tactix 8. And what is a shame is that it's exactly the same thing as the Fenix 8, but it's released 6 to 8 months later. And eventually they will come with the Fenix 8 Pro in a couple of months or a year. So this one will be kind of outdated most quickly. And it's the most expensive of those that they released recently. So I would really like if they just release them all at the same time. But they don't. So let's start that review. I just want to say that I'm not very convinced with that new generation. And we will see why. So what kind of user am I? When I'm at home, I usually do walking, gym, cycling, hiking. And when I do travel, I do some expedition. So bike expedition for a couple of weeks, a month. I do more camping this time. So I do some expedition that lasts from few weeks, days, or a month. So it's very important for me to have a great battery. I need the mapping system because often I do off-road stuff. I go in the mountain and I exit the trail and I just go in the wood. And yeah, so that's the kind of things that I need. So let's talk about build quality, look, and weight. The Tactix 8 weighs 95 grams with everything and 67 grams if you remove the band. While the Enduro 3 is 63 grams, so it's less heavy with the band than the Tactix without the band. And the reason for that is that for the first time, and I will compare it with my Enduro 2. So Enduro 3, the back is in plastic. While the Enduro 2, it's in titanium, just like the Tactix. Titanium, plastic. I was not sure about this. I mean, I like to have premium material in my watch, but it's so much lighter that, yeah, it's kind of a good thing. I'm not sure. Really not sure. But now about the look. Okay, let's start with the Enduro model. That's the Enduro 2. That's the Enduro 3. I don't know if it's just me, but the Enduro 2 looks so much better. I like the fact that there's a bezel. Now there's almost no bezel. And the thing is, if you take a look at that, they remove the bezel just to put a bigger black bar inside of it. The screen is not even bigger. I think that this black contour is the new solar panel. On the previous model, you can clearly see it around. That's the solar panel. Now it seems to be black. But that just creates that huge black gap inside that is all empty, and I think it doesn't look good. And I like the fact that this look actually like a watch. Just a watch. This looked like a smartwatch. This looked like a regular watch that have a lot of tools inside. So yeah, I prefer the old look. About the Tactix 8, I think also that the previous model that I don't have with me right now still look better, even if it's a very beautiful watch. But the Tactix 8 have some more details all around that is not there on this one, unfortunately. The contour is thinner also, but I like the fact that it's flat compared to the Fenix series that have that edge in an angle. I like the color, I like the finish, I like everything about the Tactix. I like the look of the buttons. I think it's look better. Then, the screen. The screen is a sapphire crystal screen, which is, in my opinion, what you can have the best on a watch of this price, because it's very, very, very hard to scratch. The cons of this is that it's a bit more complicated to see. It's less transparent. There's a bit more of a reflection, as you can see over here, but it's not that bad when you use it all day long, and you can enable the backlight and see a bit better. Actually, this backlight is turned on at 100%. That's just for the tutorial. Usually I use it at 20%, but it looks better with real eyes than with the camera and all those lights behind and everything. Now, about the display, I choose to have the solar model, not because of the solar option, which is still a great thing, but because the MIP screen of the solar lasts way longer than the AMOLED model. And that's why I always end up with MIP. AMOLED just drains too much battery, in my opinion. Every pixel that is on to display something eat the battery, while the MIP display of the solar model only drain battery when a pixel change of state. Otherwise, it doesn't drain any battery. It's like a dead display. I don't know if it's the way it's called, but yeah, it doesn't. It do not consume a lot of battery. And over that, you've got the solar panel. So you got way more battery with the solar model. That's why I end up with it. But if you don't see that well, if your eyes are not that healthy, of course, the AMOLED model is always easier to look at. The only con there is about this is at night, I mean, when you sleep, it produces light. So there's that feature that gives you a sleep display on which you have very few data. Now, let's talk about the quantity of information you can have when you are into an activity. And it's huge. You see on that page, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data field. And that one is doubled. And that one have a graph behind it. And this one have some precision with the compass. And this one have the heart rate, but also have the gauge. So it's very, very well done. And you can change a lot of data. There's a lot of fields. You can broadcast pretty much everything on your screen. And it's not only that. You can have multiple pages just like that. And you end up with that compass. You also got that map. You can have a virtual partner, a ghost to run against, and those kind of things. You can put a lot of data. Now, let's talk about type of control. Those watch are controllable with two things. There's the tactile, that I really don't like, but it's there. But you don't have to use it. I don't like tactile because when you sweat on your watch, when it's raining, when you go in the shower with it, it's just start to make that nonsense of. I don't like it. Can I re-enable it? But otherwise it kind of works well. You can move like that, and yeah, it works pretty well. You can select something, go back from the home screen. You can press and hold a data, and it goes onto it. It's not perfect, but no, it's not perfect, but it goes onto it. But I just don't like that. So I have this shortcut to disable it. It can be useful on the map because it's way faster than the button function, but otherwise the buttons on that series of watch is absolutely perfect. The way it works is that you got those two buttons. This one go down, this one go up, this one select, and this one go back. And this one, when you hold it, it's the menu of what you are on right now. So just with those four buttons, you can do pretty much everything, and there's sub-menu everywhere. So if you like to adjust the things the way you want, if you want to modify the settings, you can do it, and you can navigate quite quickly everywhere in the watch. The menu is super well done. It's a watch that is very efficient. But unfortunately here I have a couple of points of things that I think that are less efficient, and we'll come to that just right now. First one, when you want to edit the data fields of your watch face. You see now if I edit the data, I've got this little pulse. So that's what tell me that I will modify this. And to modify it, I need to select it, and then I can change the data. And then I can select that it's okay, and then I can pass to the next information. And now there's this just little pulse. Again, I change here, little pulse. It's not very clear. I want to change it, I select it, and I modify it. If I go on the previous generation, which is the Enduro 2, I go on Watchface. Sorry, it's less clear. It's just the brightness of the backlight that is lower. If I change the data, you see now it's blinking. It's blinking. And already if I press here, I can change of data field. And if I want to modify it, just use those two buttons, change again. I don't need to select it. So it was faster, it was more efficient before. And while we were there, there's a thing you should realize here, and it's that both of those watch have the very same watch face right now. Can I go out of there? And as you can see, you see that sun information, that sun dial here. I've got the time of the sunrise, and I can see where I am in the night. With that one, I can't. It's just the sunrise time. And when you look at the heart rate, you see there is that little red line that you clearly see way better with your own eyes than on the camera. But you see that red line is my chart of my heart rate for the previous hour. And it's not available in the newest generation. That's weird. And it's not because I did not wear it. It's just not available. So the watch face does have less information. Also, the activity menu is longer to reach. Previous generation, if I want to start an activity, I press on that button, I select my walk and I start it. So three press of a button, the activity is started. This one, I go here. I need now to go into activities, and then I can select my activity, and then I can start it. After seeing that incident detection disabled, because I don't want to have it, I have to have this notification every time. So it's one more button. It's longer. It's longer to use. It's just one button, but why? Then I can realize that the interface is now most likely built for tactile. You can still use the button all the time. You don't need to use the tactile, but as you can see, if I go in that menu here, clearly that big activities button is made for tactile. And it's not clear that I'm on this button. If I go under here, you see there's that little line that I follow. But if I go there, I don't know, it's not, there's a couple of pages that I'm not sure where am I if I want to select something. So that's a shame. There's also the widget that is a bit broken. Let me show you with that one. The widgets, or the glance, are that page. So from the home screen, if I press down, I have my glance. I've got the weather, sunrise, and moonset, 3 that I use very often. And I can scroll down to the very bottom with all my glance. And at the end, I go back to the main screen. Now, if I go up, I can have access to my latest or lowest glance. Now, if I go down, at the very bottom, I've got the edit button, and that's it. I would need to go up again or use the back button to exit. If I go up, I've got the notification, which is the same thing as before. Before I go up, I got access to the notification, but I also have access to my other things. Now it's just a notification, and that's it. So I think it was also better before. Something weird, anywhere you are on the watch, before, that was the default settings, when you press and hold the backlap button, it returned to the watch face, wherever you are, even if you are into an activity. There, it's still possible, but it's not like that by default. So I needed to program this. You can program all of this by going into the watch settings system and use a shortcut here. So as you can see, hold back, get to watch face. I think by default, it's like the previous app that you did use that will come up. Then, what else? Oh, that one is very frustrating. Let's start an activity. So we've got the previous generation right here. There's a feature that when you move your watch to look at it, the backlight turn on. And when you drop it, it turns off. Let's try again. Turn on, turn off. As soon as you stop looking at it, it does turn off. Now, I take the latest generation. Now it's on. See, I go on the side, it doesn't go. Okay, I set it off. I move. That's perfect, it turned on. But when I go on the side, it remain on. There is no longer a feature that turn off the watch. Actually, that was just the end of the timer. Because the rule is that it's go on for 8 seconds. It's the same thing for this one. If you look at it for more than 8 seconds, it will go off. You can change it to up to a minute or to never go off. But yeah, before, look at the watch, turn on, drop your wrist, turn off. Now it remain on. Really? It drains your battery more and you're more visible. And it just produces useless light in your environment. That's a feature that they brought in the past. I think it was in an update, or maybe it was when they released that one, but yeah, they remove it. I think it's a shame. There's also the music app that when you are into an activity, the music app, you just have to press and hold that button and it loads the music app. But when you're into an activity, it automatically returns to the activity page. Before, if I wanted to remain on the music app, it remained there. Now they just decide that, yeah, no, after a minute, we're gonna go back to the activity page. I just need to say that those two watches, Tactix 8 and Enduro 3, are still both very efficient watch. I just think it's weird that the previous generation was, in my opinion, more efficient for less money. In terms of customization, you have a lot of choice because the Fenix, the Enduro 3, the Tactix is about the same watch, but with different case, with different build configuration, with different color, with different band. So you have a lot of choice. But still, I think that it would be better if there was fewer choice. I'm frustrated that there's no possibility to have just a Tactix 8 with the battery of the Enduro 3. Even the Enduro 2, that is already, I think, 2 years old now, have a better battery than the latest Tactix 8, which is about the double of the price. Now let's talk about band. And here again, the Enduro 3 comes with that nylon band. That is super comfortable, super easy to adjust. But it's not the best looking band, let's say. And the previous generation was coming with a silicone band. I never used a silicone band, so it's not that bad, but it was coming with it. Now with the Tactix, it now come with that silicone band that has always come with, but now it have no longer that nylon tactical band, which is one of my favorite band of all. Actually, this one is the one from my Tactix 7. When I sold my Tactix 7, I keep that one. It's really one of my favorite. They sell it for a lot of money, and it's just not coming with it anymore if you live in North America. It seems that they still sell it with the nylon band in Europe. That one is hard to swallow. It's a lot more expensive, and it doesn't come with that nylon that they sell for a lot of money anymore. Let's talk about GPS precision. Those two watches work just fine. I mean, like every watches. All the sport watch that I've tested, from the cheapest of Garmin and even some other brand, it just worked fine. You go outside, it follow the trail, you look at your heat map at the end, and it worked pretty much all the time. Most of the time, I only use the GPS because it drains less battery, and it works very well. Okay, sometime you can be in a city where there's a lot of building there. You might need a bit more precision. You might be also on a cliff, on a mountain, in a big hill with a lot of trees, clouds. That can cut the GPS signal for sure. There you can upgrade, but most of the time I'm just on GPS. But still, if you want something very precise, yes, there's GPS, Galileo, and the other one. There's also the multi-band, so you can use two satellite kind at the same time. You can do that. About the heart rate, it's the latest generation that Garmin does have over here. It works pretty well for me. It doesn't work as well for everybody. I mean, it depends on your skin color. The darker your skin is, the less it is efficient. You can have air that avoid the light to pass. You can have tattoo, those kind of things. So for me, it worked well. But if you want something very precise, I always recommend the heart rate bell. Now, about the independence of the watch. They are very independent watch. You can use it without a phone. Actually, you can unbox them and never use a phone. They will work. Of course, it's easier to synchronize your activity, and you need the phone connection to get the weather. But apart from that, you don't need a phone. Everything is built in. The GPS is built in. The map is built in. The information about the sun is built in. Everything is built in. When you are on the map and you are looking for a location, it's built in. So that's very good. And that means also that the fact that the watch keep working over years is totally independent of the health of Garmin. If Garmin go bankrupt and you don't have access to the Garmin app anymore, yeah, you'll lose the weather. But you can still use your watch, and you can still export your data by connecting over USB to your computer. You will get your fit file that you can send on Strava. Is it possible to reverse the watch? I like to have that option to, let's say you have it on your clearly this watch is made to go on the left wrist, so you can go up and down with those two buttons with your thumb, select with your index and go back with your major. But if you send it to the other wrist, it's not as handy. That would be great if you could reverse the watch just like that, but you can't. Sorry. Now, in terms of quantity of sport available, it's the same thing again on both watch. Maybe there's a little difference, but if we go down here, you got a lot of activities that are classified like outdoor. You get all of these. When you go into running, you got different kinds of runnings. When you go into cycling, it's the same principle. You got a lot of kind of cycling and all that. There's also that multi-sport mode on which you can choose to do a triathlon, duathlon, break, swim run, or custom one, where you can choose the order of what you want to have. It's not something that I use when I want to do multi-sport. What I do is that I want to remain free of choosing what I'm going to do. So let's say that I go for a walk. I start my activity. And when you are into the activity, if you want to change sport, you can press and hold that left button and use change sport. Then select another one, like bike. And there, our activity just became a multi-sport activity. At the end of that 8 to 10 seconds, yeah, see? I also programmed this button to be, oh no, I did not. But you can program a button to be a change sport activity. Now, about the watch face, you can configure it in many ways. There's also a lot of data fields over here. As you can see, I did choose to have that one, and I did choose every single data that are here. And if I go into watch face here and modify it, I want to change style. There is a few options over here. Okay, let's talk about widgets. Widget or glance that are available here. We can have weather with the actual temperature, humidity, highest and lowest of the day, wind direction, those kind of things, hourly forecast, daily forecast, 12-hour trends, air quality, and even the radar. Very well done. There's also the sunrise, sunset application. That is wonderful. You get the sunrise, sunset time for today and the dawn, the dusk, and you can change the date if you want to see tomorrow, the next week, next month, whatever. You can have all of those information with that beautiful graph all around. And you can also change location. You can choose a coordinate or use the map or city search. You can see the sunset and sunrise time for everywhere in the world from the watch. It's all built in. You also have the moon. The moon, you got the percentage of how much light of the sun it received. You got the moon set and moonrise time. You got all of that. That's great, and you can add a lot of things in those widgets. There's an endless possibility almost. Not endless, but there's a lot. Now about the music. The way I use it is that I use it as a remote control. So when I do press that lower left button, it does bring me to that music control app, and I'm able to skip, play, pause, play with the volume of my phone that I use with my headphone. But you can also download Spotify, Deezer, and Amazon Music. Unfortunately, there is no title. I can download it here. The music, I can download my playlist inside the watch and connect headphone onto it. If you have the Tactix or the Fenix, you can listen to the music directly on the watch with a very crappy speaker. I mean, it plays well for a watch, but it doesn't play well at all. And the very good thing about this new generation is that if you're using those playlists on your watch, before you had to manually update you had to manually say, I want to update my playlist. And then it connect on the Wi-Fi and it do it. Now, every single time you connect it to recharge it, it automatically downloads the music on the watch. So that's great. One amazing feature. You double press on that button here and you got a flashlight. Yes, a flashlight. If you never try that, you can't understand how amazing this is. If you have this on your watch, you will start using it every single day. It's amazing, really. And when you press on it, you see at the beginning, when you turn it on, you have this little graph on which you can adjust the intensity. And if you go at the lowest one, you got color. That one is red. For the Enduro 3 and Fenix, it's red. When you go on the Tactix, it's green. And there's also one thing you should realize is that the Tactix have a more powerful and more white light. So yeah, the flashlight on the Tactix is better. Not that much, but it's better. Now about battery life. Of course, I only talk about the MIP model because I did not take the AMOLED, and I don't even know what is the lifetime on the AMOLED display. But the Tactix and Fenix last for 30 days in smartwatch mode and 95 hours in GPS activity, while the Enduro 3 lasts for 36 days in smartwatch mode and up to 120 hours in GPS mode. I did realize that the solar panel on the Enduro 3 is by far the best. I did put my 3 watches like that on the sun rays by the side of my window, and there's a reader that tells you how much energy it produces. I don't have the numbers, but the Enduro 3 has the highest, and by far. So yes, if you live in a very bright environment, that will help a lot to make it last longer. When they say that the Enduro 3 can have an unlimited lifetime, that's a lot. You would have to never use the GPS and be exposed to a lot of sunlight. And when I say you, it's the watch. Because when you have it on your wrist, very often your jacket or whatever can cover it, and then you don't have sunlight. So I don't think it's realistic to say that it can last forever. Temperature recommendation, you can use that watch between minus 20 Celsius up to 45 Celsius, and I did test them at minus 20, and it works very fine. Just remember that your body produces heat, and even if it's minus 20 outside, the watch is not really at minus 20 with your body heat. Notification, you can receive the notification from your phone. If you have an Android, you can choose which application will reach your watch. If you got an iOS phone, it's everything or nothing. Vocal features. You can now, if you have the Fenix or the Tactix, not the Enduro 3, you can talk with your watch. You can record messages. You can have a call if you have your phone with you. And there's some vocal features. So you can ask to start an activity or start a timer. I don't like that. Maybe it's something that you want, but I just don't like that. For example, yesterday I just did test it for fun. I asked for a 15-minute timer, and it did start a 16-second timer. At this point, I think it's useless. When you do a call, I was surprised about the sound quality of the people I was talking to, how much well I was able to hear it. But she was not able to hear me well. It was sounding crappy. And it's kind of normal. There's a microphone that is probably, I don't know where, but it's a diving watch, so it's very waterproof. Of course, the sound of my voice doesn't pass very well. And what I hate about this is that I know that if there was such a high increase in the price, it's probably because of that better speaker, microphone, smart features about taking bigger processors and all those things. Of course, it did increase the price of the watch. And I think for my use, it's absolutely useless. Water resistance. Both of those watches are 10 ADM rating, which give 100 meter. And you have to know that 100 meter doesn't mean you can dive up to 100 meter. It's made to resist to the pressure of 100 meter of water. But when you go on the field, your movement, the wave, you can't reach that depth. On this one, they did improve the buttons so that they are now more resistant to water. And this one is a dive 40 meter. It may look weird, but dive 40 is better than 100. This means that this one is certified to dive up to 40 meter. So it's better. The downside of this is that now the buttons of that watch compared to this one, when I click the button, it does click, 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 click. I can feel my click. Those one are just smooshy. You don't feel anything. It's because of that new stuff that make it more water resistant. But I really don't like the feeling. And the thing is, they did had a vibration to counter that. There's a very small delay into the vibration, and the feeling is just terrible. So I just disable it. So I now just have non-satisfying button on the watch. Now let's talk about mapping, which is absolutely amazing. If I go on a hike, as I told you earlier, here I've got the map. I've got the street, I've got everything. If I go into the navigation menu here, navigate, I can create a back to start that is actually grayed out because I'm inside and I have no GPS reception. I can save a location. I can go to a saved location. I can explore nearby. Look at this. This is crazy. You can look for a closest city, but you can also look for a bike shop, those kind of things. You can look for a bank or ATM, a restaurant. I select restaurant. It will look for the restaurant available all around. Oh, I can choose the kind of restaurant. Okay, I want Asian. That's new. That one is closed. But yeah, there's a lot of option right there. So I just have to select it and it will create me an itinerary to go there. You can create a loop. So let's say that I'm in a neighbor that I do not know and I want to do a 10K run. I'll ask the watch to create me a 10K run and it will. it will give me 3 options of 10K run that I can do just right now. There's something amazing that this watch can do. It seems stupid, but you can power it off. So if you want to not use it for a couple of days, you can power it off. And when you want to use it again, you press and hold that button over here and it will power on, and it will not have drained the battery. It seems stupid, but some sport watches doesn't do that. Now, about the languages, there's a lot of languages available on the watch. You go on watch settings, system, and you go down to language here, and here is all the language available. There's a lot, so I will not name them all. And there we go. We've just made the tour. About the wake up alarm, I think it's very well done. You go in clock, you got alarm right here. By the way, you also got timers, stopwatch, alternate time zone, and countdown to a date. But I want to talk about the alarm right here. You can enable one, choose the time, how much will it repeat. So once, it will disable after it ring a single time. You can have it every day. You can have it weekday, weekend, or you can choose to have it, for example, on Monday and Wednesday. You can really choose what you want in it. It's very well done. And the thing that I really like about it is that you can choose to have vibration, tonality, or both. Personally, I just put vibration. This way, if you sleep with someone or you're in a dorm, you don't wake up everybody around, you just wake up yourself. About sleeping, there's also a sleep monitor that let you know how much time you did sleep, in which state did you sleep, how much was it interrupt, the time you pass into deep sleep, light sleep, and REM. Very precise, very good. I did just realize that you have a better result if you sleep in the time that you schedule your sleep on the app or the watch. You can sleep anytime, but it's better if you follow your schedule. Now, how the watch motivates you to move. Personally, the only thing I need is my beautiful stamp on my calendar. Since January 1st, 2020, I do one activity every day without exception, and just the fact to have that stamp on my calendar is what motivates me every day. But if you want to have something that counts your steps, it's available. If you want to have something that counts your number of minutes of activity, it's available. Number of floor you climb, or if you want to have an alert because you did not move in the last hours and maybe go up and walk just a little bit, you can enable that kind of alert. There's a lot of things to motivate you. And there's also the Garmin Connect app in which you can subscribe to challenges. So maybe ride 200 kilometers this month, or do a marathon, or you have expedition mode on which you could, for example, climb Mount Everest and accumulate that elevation every day until you get it. There's a lot of challenge you can do on the Garmin Connect app. Now, how easy the watch is to operate. I think it's easy. For me. The way the buttons work, the way you can navigate in the menu, the quantity of menu and everything, I think it's very intuitive. But if you're not used to electronic device, maybe you will find it difficult. I made a complete tutorial, a complete user guide about this watch. That might be useful. I will link you to it at the end. But I don't think it's made for everybody. But for my thoughts, I think it's very, very well made. Now, about connectivity, if you want to connect some external device like power meter, heart rate belt, and those kind of things, you can connect everything that is Bluetooth and ANT+. About cellular connection, there is no cellular connection, no LTE, nothing. It's not available on any watch, but all the 3 watches, Tactix, Fenix, and Enduro, does have the Wi-Fi to do some synchronization. It only works with 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Now, let's talk about the USB connection. which is this one at the back. It's a proprietary cable from Garmin. It's the same that they use since a very, very long time. So it's a working cable. But finally, they changed the other end from USB-A to USB-C. So finally, it's a USB-C cable now. You have tools to share your location. It's called Live Track. And with this, you can program which person you want to send it. And it will send them an email when you start an activity or when you enable the feature. It will tell them on a beautiful map where you are, where you have been, and if you are on a course that you follow, it will tell them where you're going to be. So they will see your full courses and when you are on that courses. They can see your speed and everything, all the data. And it updates once every minute. Of course, for this, you need your phone with the Garmin Connect app and an internet connection. Muscle training, very well done. Let's start an activity. All of those watch have it. If I go into strength, before I start it, I can choose a workout that you can find on Garmin Connect. There it tells you which muscle you will train. And under that, you can, do the workout, start it. Now it says that do barrel deadlift. And then you've got that beautiful animation. It tells you exactly what to do. I think it's very, very well done. When you're done, you do that button here and you can edit number of reps you did and the weight you made. Whatever. Now let's talk about the application. It's the Garmin Connect app. You can find it on iOS, Android. Very well done. You can create your courses. You can have access to your calendar, all your health information and those kind of things. It's available on the phone, but it's also available on a web page. If you just want to type in, I think it's garminconnect.com or something like that. Very well done also. You can find all your information. And it's the tool that I use when I'm creating my itinerary for expedition and those kind of things. Very well done. And finally, the price. The price. That's kind of crazy. Those watches are now very, very expensive. And unfortunately, I think it's the reason why they do not worth it. Thing is, I was waiting for the Tactix 8. And when I did see the price, I told myself, and usually I tell myself that, yeah, it's a lot of money, but I use it a lot and it's worth it. Now, no, it's really expensive. And the fact that my good old Enduro 2 have a bigger battery than the newer Tactix, which is twice the price, I think it doesn't worth it. And there's also the fact that they remove bands, and you remember what I told at the beginning, all the features that I think that work better on the previous generation, and the fact that previous generation seems to be more reliable. If you got a Fenix 7 series watch, which could be the Enduro 2 or the Tactix 7, or even if you have a Fenix 6 Pro, I would keep it, not update. I would definitely not update. And if you are in the market for a new watch, look at the latest generation, the previous generation, not the latest. Look at the previous generation, the Fenix 7. I think they are a better watch, and for not a fraction of the price, but they are, now that they are an older generation, the price did drop. You can find it on special or, actually, it's the first time I do it, but I will return those two watches. Usually I keep them for a while. I do test them for more time and then I sell them back. But now, at this price, no, I will return them. It's the first time I do that. I do not recommend them. They are a great watch, but you can have better for cheaper at the same brand. It's a shame. It's a shame. If you want to see the price, I do not say the price because it changed from country to another and from time to time. I've got a link in the description. They are affiliate links. So if you still want to have one of those watch, you can use those links. And thank you. I will make a commission out of it. That helped me to create those videos. But yeah. Yeah. Actually, I keep at my wrist my good old Garmin Enduro 2, which I think is still the best watch out there. And if you want to see the complete tutorial user guide of those watches, it's available just right there. Or is it there? Not sure. There. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any question, you can leave a comment. And I hope to see you in another video. See ya.